Welcome to this Aura and Facts webinar. The object of the meeting is to have a quick overview of Aura for Facts schools, and then, if this is of interest to you, to book a one-on-one meeting with a member of our team to go into workshop scenarios for certain gaps that your school is encountering and actually be able to go back and forth with us. So I will get underway. Now, a little bit about Aura. So we started 10 years ago in boarding schools where having a completely robust understanding of where your students are and the responsibility that comes with being accountable for students 24 hours a day. That's where the impetus of Aura comes from. And then as we started to build integrations with SISs, we were able to use that same model for day schools and having an understanding of where your students are during the day and during classes as well. We've partnered with over 500 schools globally in 20 countries as well. We have a very wide-reaching partner group. We have recently paired with Fax. We're a recommended partner of Fax and just built a two-way integration with them this past summer. We're really excited to start working with Fax schools. Now, schools need to account for students while they're in their care. We know this from boarding schools. The same can be said for day schools as well. And accounting for students requires accurate real-time attendance. If you need to know where a student is this second, having one central location to find out where that student is incredibly important. Now, with other platforms, when the student actually arrives on campus, there's no way to actually account for their whereabouts, and Aura fills those gaps through tying into the SIS and having real-time location updates tied to classrooms for non-academic locations as well. That I'm going to show you how we account for that, and then even after school for boarding schools, as well as any school trips or sporting events where students are during the school day, but they may be off campus as well. So just really being able to answer the question of where are my kids? Now, Aura is built into three different tiers. I'll start with the first tier, which is the attendance and insights that pulls the information from the SIS and facts and displays it in a meaningful way. We have office admin that are doing a lot of manual entry for when a student misses class or is tardy to class, and the correspondence to the parents that eats up a lot of their time and they're unable to focus on other elements. And or is able to take that information and automate messages and send them to the parents, as well as being able to have eyes on attendance trends. We know that after COVID, the tardiness has been a big problem in schools, and being able to not have kids fall through the cracks and set alerts for these things has become more important. Most schools see with the attendance insights and alerts tier, they see between 10 and 15 hours of saved time every single week. That depends on the school size. It can go upwards from there as well. But we're trying to make life as easy as possible for the office admin and not have to do tedious manual tasks. Now, I'm going to jump into the product for a second just to show you what it looks like. Now, Aura in the insights and alerts page. So I'm going to back this out to 12 weeks so that we can have a little bit more information. So this is what your in American Heritage School, sorry, that's a partner school of ours in Utah. This isn't their information. This is a dummy account, so no worries. This is pulling information that's sitting in facts and displaying it in a meaningful way. So as we go through here, you can see different tiles that you can customize as well, but we have the students with most concerns here being flagged and the staff with incomplete roles here as well. We're always trying to find ways to get teacher compliance up, whether it's through ease of use or actually having eyes on who isn't completing roles, and maybe there's a conversation to be had there. Then we have the attendance heat map. So you can also have really good eyes on any attendance trends by course. And if there is a conversation that needs to be had with any staff member, it's right there for you to see. Then we have the most unexcused absences. Obviously, these would be frequent flyers, and I'm sure that you would be relatively familiar with these names. Same thing goes for most tardies. And as you can see on all of these tiles, you can toggle between class and day, class being more important for upper schools, and the day attendance trends being more for the middle and lower schools. Then we have excused absences as well. So even if students are frequently sick and you want to make sure that you have eyes on that because maybe there's a well-being conversation that needs to be had, you can also drill down by the excuse type, and we can go into the different types of passes in a bit. Now, down here, you can filter any SIS group or grade to see a list for any specific trends. For instance, I was speaking to a school, I guess it was about a month ago at this stage, that needed to see all grade nines that had been tardy more than 2 times in the last 2 weeks. This is where you'd be able to filter this table and be able to export a list to whoever's managing that detention. The other side to the insights and alerts tier are the alerts and being able to automate any communication that has to do with missed classes or tardiness. So what this looks like is if I go to create a new alert, if I need to know when a student is nearing a threshold where maybe they're not going to be receiving a credit. So for some schools, it's 8 classes, 10 classes, what have you. But you definitely want to make sure that you're getting ahead of that specific scenario and having a conversation with the parent or with the course staff, whoever it may be. This is just one example of what our schools do dozens of times. You can have different parameters for different classes and so on. So this is just one example. Now, if I go when any student is absent, unexcused, or absent, excused, just if they miss the class at all for, I'm going to go the same course, just hit all because they may be at risk of not getting the credit. And if they are at risk of not getting the credit at 8, I want to make sure that we are sending out correspondence at 5 missed classes. And we can set it for a fixed period, your term, what have you. I'm just going to go for 3 months. And you can have this be once it's met or every time after it's met. So subsequent missed classes as well at 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now, you can decide who is getting this alert as well. So is it the staff member? It can be the course staff, dean level, whoever it is that you want to have eyes on. The contacts of students, parents or guardians, and the student themselves. You decide what the message for this specific parameter would be. And then without the intervention of the office admin, you are able to send the correspondence to the staff member, the guardian or parent. So this is what is largely taking off a lot of manual labor in the office. Now, that's tier one. When we go to the second tier of Orah, this is when we start to actually take the role in Orah, manage passes from parents in Orah, and any real understanding of where the students are at any given time. So we're no longer using facts to actually take attendance if we want real up to the minute understanding of where the students are. So this can manage, like it says, class attendance, late arrivals, dismissals, and anything outside of the classroom as well, and student leaves and absences for boarding schools. Now, Phillips Exeter, they have been using us for quite some time, and they had a lot of standardized checks, and this was a way to manage a very big campus and have a far better understanding of where the students are. I'm going to quickly show you what that looks like in Orah again at the second tier. With the passes, so if a student is going to be sick from school and they're going to stay home, the parent would go through a link that would sit on the school's website. It would feel native to the school's website, and they would choose from a prefabricated list of passes that we work with you on the onboarding stage to put together. So Any of the fields that would be necessary for each type of pass, any levels of endorsement on each type of pass would be built out with us to make sure that all of the information is on all of the passes. So we would send a verification code to the parent's email address. They would choose the type of pass, fill in the start time, end time, everything else gets sent through to the office where they would be able to go in and take a look at all of the information. So the start time, end time requested by the parent, and also the endorsement status. I was also just speaking to a boarding school that needed to make sure that parents were a level of endorsement or had different house parents as levels of endorsement so that everybody had eyes when the student was going to leave the campus or leave the dorm. This is where the endorsement levels come as well. It can be for the deans, the who the staff member is. Anyhow, once you hit approve, once the admin staff hit approve, then that speaks to the class roll in real time and it updates all the classes that would be affected between the start time and end time of the pass. Now, actually taking the role in Orah, you can have Fax Open as your LMS. A lot of our schools use Canvas or what have you. Anything can be open in the window to the left, and we have a web extension that works with any web browser, and it just pulls right into the screen, and it would display the course schedule for this teacher, whoever's signed in. So this is again pulling your schedule from Fax, and you're able to take the role in here. And let me see if there's one that hasn't been completed. I'll go through. Here we are. So resume the attendance. Now, if there were a student that were on a pass of some variety, it would show up beside their name and it would say a late arrival pass or a sick pass, and it would show in this web extension. But as I go through, I'm just going to hit attended class, they were tardy, attended class, and so on. And then when you complete the role, it gets sent off and everything is updating in real time for the insights page as well. Now, the role taking can also be done on mobile. It can be done on HTML or being pulled into the sidebar with a web extension or actually done on mobile as well. Different teachers have different preferences. And as we are going through and updating the whereabouts, the academic whereabouts of where the students are, it's going to update the overview, which would have the school's campus here. And you'd be able to see who's on grounds, off grounds, and which classroom they're in as well. Every academic class has a location tied to it, so it would update the students' whereabouts as well. Now, the parent passes are one way of understanding the students' whereabouts, whether they're going to be on campus or off campus. We also have the ability to update student locations while they're on campus. If I'm a coach and I need to take the boys basketball team on a game that's at the school next to us, I'd be able to go and find, I think that we have a basketball team here, the varsity boys basketball team. Beautiful. And I'd be able to put them all on a pass, internal school pass. And I think that we have a sports pass here. Da, 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 da. Maybe not. So I would have a sports pass available that I would be able to put them all on. I'll just show what that would look like for a medical pass, but it would have the start time, end time, and the location of where everybody's going, how they're getting there, and if there are levels of endorsement. But you can also do this in advance and schedule passes in advance. A lot of our coaches do that once they have the schedule ready. They can lock in the team and put those passes preemptively for all of their students. Same thing goes for if a student needs to go to the nurse's office, the medical center, if a student is going to be in a study hall or anything of that variety. You want to make sure that you have them updating their location. Now, for non-academic updates of location, there are a few different ways that you can do it. For schools that do allow phones on campus, which are few and far between, granted, you are able to use these NFC tiles and update the whereabouts. So these don't run on Wi-Fi. They're not battery operated. It's the same technology as Apple Pay, and the student would just be able to tap their phone on one of these tiles, and it's tied to a location and it updates their location. The other way that you're able to update location is by either going to the student and just changing their location like this as well. So if they're going to the gym, say, or the library, I can choose, I can go chapel or wherever it is, the ice rink, and I can update their location like this. Or when they actually arrive at the location, there can be an iPad kiosk as well, and they can update their location that way. Now, for late arrivals and for early dismissals, there is a iPad kiosk that would be wherever the school prefers it, but typically it's around the office, and the student would be able to either scan in with a QR code or with a barcode and hold up their code to the camera of the kiosk, and it would flash up their name, and they'd be able to choose late arrival. Or for the sake of showing you, they can search up their name, choose late arrival, and send this off. And then this would speak directly to the course attendance for the teacher. So if a student arrives at the class without having checked in at the office, the teacher would be able to see that there was no late arrival pass submitted, and they can send them back on their ways back to the office to check in, and then they can come back to the class. It's like a digital late pass. That's how internal passes and leaves work. Actually taking the role in Orah as well through extension or through mobile, but having a complete understanding of where the students are, be it academic or non-academic. I'm gonna flash back here. Now, using all of that information that you are collecting because you are updating their location when you're taking the attendance for classes, you're updating their location when they're going on a school trip or if they're playing sports, if there's an after school event, anything where they are able to update their location or there's a role taken, you are using that real-time information in the time of an emergency to understand where an unaccounted for student may be. So having an emergency response and accountability module that works with the SIS and is pulling the student information from the SIS and also understanding the last known location gives you the best possible approach to account for everybody. I'm going to show you what that looks like as well. If I need to take an emergency roll, and again, most of the time this is going to be done on mobile. So we just also refurbished the emergency module on mobile. It looks outstanding. That can be part of the information that we send along after. But what it looks like on desktop is starting an emergency roll. And if I go lockdown and start a new roll, here you can see what the notifications look like. So the alerts, you can decide to do a push notification, email, or SMS to students, parents, or staff. If it is a lockdown, you're probably wanting all three. If it's a drill, you don't need to include the parents as well. But you can decide what the communication looks like to everybody. And then once we start the roll, then we can start accounting for students. So as we go through, we can go safe, and this is updating all staff members in real time to have a complete understanding of who is accounted for and who's not. You can filter this by your class, deans can go by grade, you can go by unaccounted for students, what have you. And also, if it's a lockdown situation and there's a student walking outside of my class and I pull them in, I can search up their name and account for them. And that is going to update the teacher or staff member who is responsible for them at that time. And they'll have an understanding, oh, James is in Mr. Shower's English class. He's accounted for and he's safe. So again, this is speaking in real time to absolutely every staff member, and you're able to pull the information from the last known whereabouts of the student as well. That's the emergency module of Orah. All right. Now, Ridley College is another good example of a school that was using multiple systems to account for their students, and with everything being segmented, it left a lot of gaps. They've been with us for quite some time and have been a really great collaborator with us. And now there is one place that they look all the time to understand where their students are. If they need to know attendance, any attendance trends, if they need to go away on any trips, and also for their boarding students going on leaves, it's all just one central location rather than multiple spreadsheets. All right, now for the 6-month roadmap, we have the attendance automation coming, students being able to check themselves into class, a dismissals module, which will be much more popular in the lower grades, but it's been an ask and been on the radar for the last little while, and that'll be rolling out imminently. That'll be part of the tier that emergencies is attached to as well. And then extracurricular activity management as well. After school events or after school, anything that you can sign up for, just managing the whereabouts of students then. And then for the next quarter, we're working with a visitor management integration. So again, when it comes to understanding where your students are and understanding who is on your campus, visitor management ties into that. And we'll be rolling that out very soon as well. And then medical dispensaries for boarding schools. All right, so that is a very high level overview of every tier of Orah. If there are any questions for the modules that we showed, please let me know.
This demo was a high-level overview of the Orah platform. The recommended next step from here is to book in a call with one of our school solutions experts who will ask you a bunch of questions to understand how your school operates, and then based on the knowledge of hundreds of conversations with other independent schools, recommend some solutions to those challenges that you're facing right now. The ultimate goal of this session is to leave you with a better idea of whether Orah is right for you or not. There's no obligation to continue if it's not, but we can guarantee that it'll be an impactful 30 minutes. To schedule in your session, head to orah.com/workshop, fill in the form, and you'll be routed through to your local expert. Have a great day.